Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Pissed Off Piston Garage. Today we're working on the front suspension and the underside of the Corvair. So I'm going to be using my air needler, which looks like this thing. It just shoots the needles, and it's really good at taking off undercoating. And so I was going to be doing that to like certain places where there's, it even looks like tar is just stuck in there. So that's what I was going to be doing. And I'm going to be getting this sandblasted here next week. And so I'm in the middle of attempting to take off my drum brakes because, as you saw in one of the previous videos, I am going to be doing a disc brake conversion. And so I started by taking off the bolts here and over there, and that's about as far as I got, because I'm gonna be real with you guys, I don't know how to take this off. I can't find any videos online. I'm assuming I am gonna have to take off the springs here to access a hidden nut or bolt because it's mounted there, but I have to have a special tool in order to take that off, and I don't know where the tool is or if I even have one. So that's a little upsetting because, well, I don't know how to do it, but I'm learning. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to bolt everything back together and do some research later. And in the meantime, I will do the air needler there, finish it up on here, and then we'll head to the underside of the car and get that ready for prep. So here's my needler thing. I'm sure you guys can see how that works. So I'm just going to go around on here, find any spot where there's like undercoating or whatever, or scaly rust. One thing is my air compressor is old. Like, it's pretty old. I remember being a little kid when we got this. And so it's been through a lot, and unfortunately it is running. It's just dying, which is kind of sad. So we are going to be getting a new one hopefully soon. But until then, we're going to use this. The problem is that it won't like keep up. You'll go for a little bit and then it will stop and we'll have to wait for it to catch up, and yeah, you guys get it. But anyway, let's go. Okay, so that's like all the grease and rust that I could get off. Actually, I think quite a bit came off. So yeah, especially on like the back side there, it's all exposed metal. So I did the best I could, and I'll let whoever sandblast this, I'll let them get the rest. So now we're gonna move to the underside of the car. Quick few things to note. So all of this that's exposed, that used to all be covered in this undercoating here, but when I first got that needler tool like 3-4 years ago, I don't know, I just went to town on the underside. So most of it's already done, but I still have a lot to do, especially up there and underneath the trunk area and then on the other side. So let me get all cleaned up here and we'll get to work on the underside. So there's the undercoating. I know that doesn't look like a lot, but that was like, I don't know, I think that's quite a bit actually. So got that all swept up. Thinking it's looking pretty good under there. I got some rust. I am going to wash it. I'm going to get some soapy water, get all that cleaned up. Here's the other side. Yeah, that's all. It's mainly gone, except for up here. It looks like undercoating, but I think that's just like mud and grime and crap. So I got it off the best I could. It's kind of greasy though, so we'll find a way to get rid of that. So, yeah, but that actually went pretty good. It's most of the undercoating. So whoever put that on back in the day, that really protected metal, because I'm seeing some original paint. It used to be the green, that darker green. It's kind of hard to see, but yeah. So I think that turned out pretty good. So I'm going to get that cleaned up, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the steering box, because I need to get up in there to, you know, to clean up that rust. All right, we are looking good under here. I was right, that was just like mud and dirt and crap. So scrubbed everything up, and I think that actually looks pretty dang good. Yeah, so there's that side. I did end up snipping the rest of the fuel lines, because if you touch these, or the brake lines, you get that, whatever that is, and it like coated my hand. So I just cut them out of the way. Come over here. Got all up in there. Not perfect, but that's okay. So there we go. Next is the steering box. Okay, so back underneath the car, we got the clamp here undone, and that was a 5/8 and an 11/16, I believe, to take that off. Yep, 11/16. And then you take a bigger screwdriver here and you just spread that apart like I did there. And then there should be another, let me turn the steering column there, another clamp kind of built in. Right there, let me see if I can zoom in. There you go. So then you just take a screwdriver and you kind of twist it open. Kind of hard to do one-handed. Just like that. And then you got to take out these 3 bolts. Oh, my camera's still zoomed in. There we go. Take these 3 out and then get ready to catch that, because that might drop. So that took a little gentle persuasion, but there we have it, our steering box. So, all right, well, I'm going to probably put this in a bag or something, or see if I can degrease it. Probably have to just take it to a mechanic shop and see if they can clean it for me. But I bought this thing. I used it once, and it works great. It hooks up to your angle grinder. And I bought that at O'Reilly's. And so I usually use these, those wire brushes, which work great. But when you have something that's really heavy duty, not so great. So I took that, which is much more heavy duty, underneath here. And you can see my frame rail, how that just, it ate it down right to bare metal. Did I do any on this side? I'm not sure. Let me go to my other side quick. Oh yeah, right there. Look at that. It just right down the bare metal. And so, I'm gonna do my best to get as much of the paint and rust off of this as possible. And then the original plan was to do, pour 15. Gonna, like, from basically there on forward, the underside was all gonna be done with pour 15. And I've decided not to do that because I watched a bunch of reviews on it. I think Pour 15 is a great product. The only problem is that you need to do a ton of prep work. And honestly, it's a little bit expensive. And so I watched a video of a guy took a rusty piece of metal and he took like 5 different kinds of rust inhibitor stuff that like you can just paint right over top of rust. And he said the best one that worked for him was this stuff called Rust Stop. It's from Ace, and you agitate the rust, try to get as much of it off as possible, and then you just spray right over top of it. And then he did an update 2 years later, and he said that this one still looked the best. So I got 2 cans of that. And so that's what I'm going to attempt to do. I'm going to rip off all the paint and rust, do the underside where the gas tank is, and then I'll spray that stuff and do my best. By the way, this is my fiberglass front end and an old, the lower valance, and then the front grill piece right there. If anyone is interested in that, leave a comment, because these 2 pieces are a package deal. They are for sale. So if you're interested, let me know. But getting back to it, so there's that. Oh, quick thing, someone mentioned in the previous video that I should rip this all apart and sandblast it. That is a goal. It is not the goal at the moment. I would love to take everything apart. There's a, what's it called? A guy on YouTube, I think it's Chair City Corvair Center, I think. And he shows you very detailed how to take all of this apart and then how to put it back together. And yep, the bushings are worn out, but they still work. And so sometime in the future, I do want to rip it all apart and replace the bushings and everything. But that's not in the budget at the moment. And I don't have the time to do it because my car is immobile. If you see, I have it pulled out sideways instead of flush up against the wall. And so that doesn't leave much room for my mom to park her car there. So I got to get this put back together. So in the future, I will pull this out again because I know how to drop it down and completely powder coat everything, take it apart. So that is going to happen in the future sometime. But as of right now, I'm going to sandblast it the best I can and then paint it and put it back underneath the car. So yeah, sorry about that. I am going to be using one of these. Fun fact, I actually hate these masks with a passion. I hate the way they feel on my face. They're just very uncomfortable, but I'm going to wear it because, well, I don't want to die of lung cancer. So yeah, just make sure you're being smart when working on these old cars. Okay, I gotta really find a new way to start new shots. Okay, there I go again. Anywho, nope, don't like that. Whatever. Okay, so here we got the wheel well. I am actually really happy with how that looks. I got some work to do here yet. As you can see, technically, it's hard to show. There is still rust there. However, because of the paint I got, I can paint right over top of that. And it will convert the rust back to a primer, or I can just paint over it. So like that stuff, how it's still brown and rusty, that I can paint right over. But if I come somewhere over here, like, focus, right there. That rust there, that I don't really want to paint right over top of. And I'm going to try to agitate that as much as possible. So, but other than that, I'm really happy with how well that turned out. I mean, look how shiny that is. That's just amazing. And then, right there, that's some more of that rust that I can't get with a wire brush, but I can paint over it. And this actually worked phenomenal. I really like the braided wire on here, because if it's just a regular wire brush like that, it's just going to shoot out at you. And so this one's still, the wire's still shot out, but I mean, it was nothing. It just held up really nice. I am glad that I was wearing scene protection, because I did feel one of the wires like hit right on the lens where my eye was. So make sure you're being safe. But anyway, so I'm really happy with that. Got to get up inside the inner wheel well there, and then up in there. And then I'm not sure how much I want to do in there, because that, like inside where the gas tank sits, that's all really nicely preserved. So yeah. And my light just died on my camera. Awesome. This is why you use a mask, because look how dirty that is. It's dirty. Anyway, so I'd rather not all this dust and crap be inside my lungs. But here we are. Let me get a light. Yeah, so it's not finished. I left that untouched. That's just primer, because we had to replace that piece right there. And so that's already sanded and basically primed. Got a little touch-up work to do. And then there's up there, so it's looking pretty good. All right, and it is 7:30 in the morning, and we're going to quick go and get this sandblasted. So that is going to be fun. We got everything taped off there. We got those. We got the Zerks, I believe that is what they're called, taped off. And then we didn't tape off these, but we're just going to avoid them at all costs, or try to. So I hear the war cry of our truck, so I'm going to open up the door and we'll get this loaded up. Okay, so we made it to the sandblasting area. There's a front end on top of that thing. They just said because of this whole virus thing that we can't wear their uniform to sandblast it, so they're going to sandblast it for us. Which I'm okay with, because I'm too tired to do this yet, but... So we'll show you when it's done. From the sandblasting place, and I think they did a great job, actually. It's a little hard to get in there and down in there with the giant fire hose looking thing that they were using. But I think it looks great. We'll clean that up ourselves. The drums are actually packed full of sand. So, yeah, but that's okay because we're converting it to disc brakes. But just watch what happens when I put this in here. Okay, so now we are done. We got this inside all blown off. I think that looks pretty good. There was a few places, like right there, and then if you come over here, like there, but I'm actually really okay with that. I think it looks great. The only problem is oh yeah, you can just hear the sand in that. Oh my gosh. Oh no, we're just gonna take these off. Said that I was like the most knowledgeable person with cars, you know, like I'm 21, kind of started working on cars at 12, so like I know a lot, but having my dad here and having him work on it shows me how much I have yet to learn, because I was really having problems welding this in. It looks really bad, but I'll explain. But in the previous video I ran out of argon gas, which is true. We got a new thing, but I'm not the best welder, so yeah, my welds looked really bad. I was trying my hardest, and my dad was like, let me take over. So my dad, basically from, I don't even know, I think 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it's 9 p.m. now, so 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. we just worked on this, and by we I mean him. He filled in all the holes, ground it down, even underneath, so it looks really bad here, but that's because we're not done. We're just done for the night, but trust me, it is solid. And he was actually standing in it. I think I showed that in the video, so it just shows how strong it is. But I'll try to show on the underneath. Again, it's not done, so it's kind of hard to show the underside. But yeah, he worked on this basically all day, and it looks, compared to my welding, it looks great. So we are going to sand it, get rid of those grinds, and then we are in some places going to use a little bit of Bondo, and then we are going to trunk splatter it. So you won't even really see the grinds because it will be trunk splattered. So there's that. That's going good. This lip here was bent down for how many years? I bet you it sounds really weird in here. It's all echoey. My head's inside the wheel well. And it got packed full of mud, dirt, and water, and so it rotted away. And so when I was working on it, I accidentally punctured through, and I'm like, holy crap. And I'm glad I did, because I would have never noticed it. So you can see how it's all rusty there. So we're gonna cut that away and cut this away. But that's gonna be in another episode. We're gonna deal with one headache at a time. So it was unfortunate to find that, but again, I'm glad I found it instead of doing all of this work and then finding it several months later. And we got this underside. Again, it's not done, but it's looking good. Yeah, so I think that's kind of it. Oh, this isn't really worth noting what it was. There was a dent here and it was raised here. So we welded a washer here. My hands are filthy. Welded a washer here and pulled it out and it sunk that. So we got a little bit of grinding to do there, but I think that looks good. Okay, that was awkward. My sister was standing in the doorway just watching me talk to my camera. Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, so I had talked about how my hood was really badly worked when we first started this restoration. It had really bad rust that we had to grind out with like a grinder, and it was really badly worked. And then rust, it was plagued with rust, and we were going to try to fix it, but it had a lot of tin canning is what it's called when you put your hand on the hood and it would just like tin can. So shout out to my dad for picking this up for me. I put out a wanted ad on Facebook on Corvair's owner group, and I was like, hey, does anyone have a hood available? No rust, no dents. And someone in Ohio, I won't say where, but in Ohio, was like, yep, I do. And my dad was heading that direction anyways for work, and on his way back, he swung by and picked this up. It is a tiny bit rusty there, and then on this ridge, and I am going to strip it down, but I'm way okay with that. I'll show you my hood in another video. But you got the underside. The underside is very nice. It's got a little rust there, but that's nothing that can't be fixed. But other than that, it's in amazing condition. And then another thing, boom, look at that. So it looks pretty beat up, and that's because it is. It was caked in grease. There was so much grease. I took a putty knife and I was scraping grease off, grease packed in here. Then I power washed it, and honestly, I'm glad that it was, because that's probably what kept it in nice condition. So I'm going to do a little sandblasting there, and a little sandblasting there, but the metal is still solid and there's no dents, unlike my piece here. I got two of them. The one here is really dented, or no, this one's rusted. The one there is really dented. So yeah, so shout out to my dad. Thank you. Picked me up that and this will all be in another upcoming video when we start to work on the doghouse. So gonna wrap it up with this video. I'm not sure how this video is going to turn out until I edit it, so if it's weird, I apologize. But yeah, we got a lot done, and it's only Friday, and we have Saturday and Sunday left to do stuff, and then, you know, the work week begins. But after that, after that, I won't, and then you know. So we got a lot to do yet, but we're making a lot of progress. So yeah, oh, one more thing is this is all the hardware that holds on the front suspension. Like you got the gas tank stuff right there, you got the bolts that hold on the front suspension, washers, all that stuff. So that stuff has also been primed, cleaned, primed, painted. So we're gonna leave this here for the night, and yeah. So I'm gonna wrap up this video, as I've already said, and tomorrow we're gonna start another video. Not sure what we're gonna do, but probably finish up with that. So remember to like, comment, subscribe, give me your feedback. I'd love to hear it. If you're interested in seeing what happens before videos come out, feel free to follow my Instagram channel. I'll have that linked down below. It's called Pop Garage. And if you want to dive deeper into my personal life, I also have my personal Instagram in there. So, yep. That was awkward. So, yeah, I guess I'll just end this video mid-sentence.